So in today's video, I'd like to show you what our family eats on a budget of $68. My goal was to stick to around $60 to $70, and we came in at exactly $68. So I'm going to show you realistically what we eat on that type of budget. So let me show you what we made. I still had all of this lettuce on hand from what I bought last week. And of course, lettuce doesn't have the best shelf life. So I decided to go ahead and make some ground beef tacos. I also just wanted a simple meal that was predictable that everybody loves. So we had this twice this week. I'm only showing making it once, but keep in mind that a lot of these meals we ate leftovers on at least one day this week as well. Simple toppings, I'm just putting sour cream, lettuce, and a little cheese, and definitely some salsa. Next up, I had a little bit of leftover lentil soup, and this will thin down as I microwave it, or I can add a little bit of water or veggie broth to thin it out. I showed how to make this recipe in detail on last week's video, so if you're interested in that, I will leave it at the end of this video for you. But to be honest, in the early part of last week, I just kept it simple. I ate leftovers from the weekend as well as the simple tacos that I showed you earlier. So I heated all this up in the microwave, just a little bit of rice, and I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of ranch dressing for a fresh flavor. Another thing I had on hand from my last grocery shop were these green beans. And green beans, especially fresh ones, don't have a long shelf life either. Sometimes I have more energy, but this week I was really truly lacking. So I just decided to make a very simple buttered green beans to go for a side with some chicken tenders. This was a quick and easy snack that I threw together with the cherries that I bought last week and some radishes that I bought a couple weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago, my husband bought some fresh beets. We were having a long and busy week this week, so that's the perfect time to fit in a nutritious glass of fresh beet juice. We had this for snacks all week. I also put detailed instructions on how to make these delicious chicken tenders in last week's video. So again, that will be linked at the end of this video for you if you'd like to learn how to make those. They are absolutely perfect and very quick to throw together. So I made myself some chicken tenders and served it alongside a simple baked potato. You'll notice there's not a lot of breakfasts in this video, and the reason is I only eat 2 meals a day, once around 11 or 12 and again at about 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. So usually my first meal of the day is either a heavy breakfast or I just go straight to lunch. On this particular day, I decided to start the day with breakfast. So I fried up this baked potato that was in my refrigerator. It made a quick hash brown to serve alongside 3 fried eggs. To be honest, my husband rarely requests pizza, but he was in the mood for it this week, so that's what we made. I threw together a quick homemade crust in my bread machine, and I have shared this recipe in the past, so I will link it at the end of this video in case you're interested in making my recipe. I made 2 full pizzas, and there's a little bit left over for another meal on another occasion this week. Sometimes I do a stuffed crust pizza. That's what this is. Other times I just roll it out flat. My husband loves the cheesy crust pizza, and this is one of his favorites. It's so delicious. This is made completely with staples that we already have on hand in our cabinet. I had this package of air chilled chicken that I bought from Kroger on special for $3.53, which is a fantastic deal for air chilled chicken, which tends to be incredibly expensive. Previously stated, this was such a busy week, so I just went ahead and seasoned this up with some of my Dash chicken seasoning, a little bit of salt and paprika, gave it a tiny spritz of olive oil, and baked it in the oven. I also had some of this Chinese broccoli or gailan left over from my last shopping trip. If you don't have this exact thing, you can always use any other vegetables, including regular broccoli or perhaps carrots and spinach would be really great in this recipe, but you can use whatever veggies you have on hand. The thing is, I wanted to use this up because I don't like to waste food. I still had more than a pack. It was about 1 1/3 packs left of this. So I decided to incorporate this into a creamy and delicious baked 1-pan rice and chicken dish. And this turned out extremely well. This was the first time I made this exact combination. Here I'm just separating these because this type of Chinese broccoli has stems and leaves. So I have separated the stems and leaves To make this, I'm going to go ahead and add a half of an onion to some butter on the stove. And then I'm going to add in the stems of my Chinese broccoli. Then I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of seasoning. You can use whatever you have in your pantry. I'm using my potato slayer because that's what I have. That's what I love on vegetables, as well as a hefty tablespoon of garlic. I'm just going to simmer this on the stove to save myself some cook time in the oven. Then I'm going to stir in my uncooked, rinsed rice, just so that it can get coated nicely in the butter and seasonings. We just added all of that rice, so I'm just going to add a little bit more seasoning so that my dish has plenty of flavor. And then I'm going to add everything to a baking dish. And then I'm going to add my liquids. I'm just going to add about 1 cup of milk and 2 cups of vegetable or chicken broth. I'm using veggie broth because that's what I have in my pantry. I chopped up some of the greens and I will save that to add to my casserole later after it's been baking for 30 minutes. I still have some of these greens left for another meal next week. So at this point, my rice has been baking covered in the oven for 30 minutes. It is about a little over half cooked at this point, so I'm just going to mix it and add a little bit more liquid if it is dry. Mine looks really good, so I'm just going to stir in these greens and put it back in the oven for about another 15 to 20 minutes so that those greens have the opportunity to wilt, and that way they don't get overcooked. And my rice can also finish cooking. So I have baked this casserole covered for 30 minutes on 375 degrees. Now I've pulled it out and added in my greens as well as a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And now I'm just going to cover it back up and stick it back in the oven for about another 15 to 20 minutes. And here's our finished rice. Oh my gosh, this rice was one of my favorite rice dishes I've made. I make rice all the time, but I'm telling you, this one was good and it was easy. Served alongside that chicken, this just made the perfect meal. My husband and I, we just absolutely loved this. I would definitely recommend making this. So we had plenty for dinner, and I packed this for my husband's lunch for tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed the delicious meal ideas. And as promised, be sure to check out my video from last week, as well as my pizza recipe if you would like to make the pizza that I made this week. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video.